Perfectionism and self-criticism can feel like constant companions, always lurking in the background of our minds. They whisper doubts in our ears, making us question our every move and decision. They tell us we're not good enough, that our efforts will never measure up. We strive to achieve an unattainable standard, pushing ourselves to the brink of exhaustion. We fear failure and judgment, worrying about what others might think of us. Perfectionism is a relentless pursuit of flawlessness, an endless cycle of trying to be better. It's a shield we use to protect ourselves from criticism, a way to guard our fragile self-esteem. Self-criticism is the inner voice that constantly reminds us of our shortcomings, never letting us forget our perceived failures. It chips away at our self-worth, making us feel inadequate and unworthy. These patterns often stem from a desire to please others, to gain their approval and validation. We may have learned to equate our worth with our achievements, believing that success defines us. We may believe that if we're perfect, we'll finally be accepted and loved, that our flaws will be overlooked. But the truth is, perfection is an illusion, a mirage that keeps moving further away. It's a moving target that we'll never reach, no matter how hard we try. And the pursuit of it can be incredibly damaging to our mental health and well-being, leading to stress, anxiety, and depression. It's important to recognize these patterns and work towards self-compassion and acceptance. Embracing our imperfections can lead to a more fulfilling and authentic life. Perfectionism often takes root in childhood, a time when our minds are highly impressionable and we are learning about the world and our place in it. We might grow up in environments where achievement is highly valued and success is celebrated more than effort or personal growth. Perhaps our parents constantly pushed us to excel, believing that this would prepare us for a competitive world. Or maybe we were praised primarily for our accomplishments, leading us to associate love and approval with success. These experiences can teach us that our worthiness is conditional, dependent on our ability to meet certain standards. We learn to strive for external validation, constantly seeking approval from others to feel good about ourselves. We become afraid to make mistakes, fearing that any error could diminish our value in the eyes of others. As we grow older, these patterns can become deeply ingrained, shaping our behaviors and self-perceptions in profound ways. We may find ourselves constantly seeking approval from others, whether in our professional lives, creative endeavors, or personal relationships. We may tie our self-worth to our productivity, our appearance, or our relationships, believing that we must be perfect to be worthy of love and respect. The pressure to be perfect can come from societal expectations too, as we navigate a world that often values image over authenticity. We're bombarded with images of airbrushed models and seemingly flawless lives, creating unrealistic standards that are impossible to meet. It's easy to internalize these messages and feel inadequate, believing that we must constantly improve ourselves to be accepted. Understanding the roots of perfectionism is an important step in breaking free from its grip. It allows us to see these patterns with compassion and begin to challenge them, fostering a healthier relationship with ourselves and others. Perfectionism and self-criticism can have a profound impact on our mental health. They can lead to anxiety, depression, and eating disorders. When we're constantly striving for an unattainable standard, we're setting ourselves up for failure. Every mistake, every setback, feels like a personal attack. This constant self-criticism erodes our self-esteem. We start to doubt our abilities and our worth. We may avoid taking risks or pursuing our passions out of fear of failure. The pressure to be perfect can also lead to burnout. We push ourselves relentlessly, never allowing ourselves to rest or recharge. This can leave us feeling exhausted, depleted, and disconnected from ourselves. It's essential to recognize the harmful effects of perfectionism and self-criticism. By acknowledging their impact, we can start to make changes that support our well-being. One of the most effective ways to cope with perfectionism and self-criticism is to challenge negative thoughts. Our thoughts are not facts. They're simply interpretations of our experiences. When you catch yourself thinking, "I'm not good enough," or "I'm going to fail," pause and ask yourself, is this thought really true? What evidence do I have to support this thought? What would I say to a friend who was having this thought? Often, when we examine our negative thoughts more closely, we realize that they're not based on reality. They're fueled by our fears and insecurities. By challenging these thoughts, we can start to reframe our thinking. We can choose to focus on our strengths and our accomplishments. We can remind ourselves that we're worthy of love and belonging, just as we are. Section 5. Practicing self-compassion. Self-compassion is essential for overcoming perfectionism and self-criticism. It involves treating ourselves with the same kindness, understanding, and acceptance that we would offer to a loved one. When we make a mistake, instead of berating ourselves, we can practice self-compassion by saying, "Everyone makes mistakes. It's okay. I'm still learning and growing." When we're feeling inadequate, we can remind ourselves that we're enough, just as we are. We don't have to be perfect to be worthy of love and belonging. Self-compassion is not about letting ourselves off the hook or ignoring our flaws. It's about acknowledging our imperfections with kindness and understanding. It's about recognizing that we're all human and we're all doing the best we can. Section 6. Setting realistic expectations. Perfectionism often thrives on unrealistic expectations. We set the bar so high that it's impossible to reach. This sets us up for disappointment and self-criticism. To break free from this cycle, it's essential to set realistic expectations. Ask yourself, what's truly important to me? What are my values? What am I willing to strive for, knowing that I won't be perfect? It's also important to break down large goals into smaller, more manageable steps. This makes the journey less daunting and allows us to celebrate our progress along the way. Remember, progress, not perfection, is the goal. Embrace the journey and celebrate every step you take in the right direction. Section 7. Embracing imperfection. Perfectionism thrives on the illusion of flawlessness. It creates a false narrative that we must be without faults to be valued. It tells us that we need to hide our imperfections to be accepted and loved. This constant pressure can lead to anxiety and self-doubt. But the truth is, our imperfections are what make us unique and beautiful. They are the threads that weave the fabric of our individuality. Instead of striving to be perfect, let's embrace our imperfections. Let's acknowledge that it's okay to have flaws and to make mistakes. Let's celebrate our quirks, our flaws, and our mistakes. These are the aspects that add color and depth to our lives. These are the things that make us human, and they're the things that make us interesting. Our creativity often stems from our imperfections. When we embrace our imperfections, we give ourselves permission to be ourselves. We allow ourselves to be authentic and genuine. We no longer have to pretend to be someone we're not. We can shed the masks we've been wearing and reveal our true selves. We can relax into who we truly are. This brings a sense of peace and contentment that perfectionism can never provide. This doesn't mean that we shouldn't strive to grow and learn. Growth is a natural part of life, but it should come from a place of self-love. It simply means that we can do so with self-compassion and acceptance. We can be kind to ourselves as we navigate our journey. We can embrace the journey, imperfections and all. In doing so, we find true happiness and fulfillment. Section 8. Celebrating achievements. Perfectionism can make it difficult to celebrate our achievements. We're so focused on what we haven't accomplished that we forget to acknowledge how far we've come. Take time to celebrate your successes, no matter how small they may seem. Acknowledge your efforts and give yourself credit for your hard work. When you achieve a goal, take time to savor the moment. Reflect on the challenges you overcame and the lessons you learned along the way. Celebrating our achievements allows us to recognize our progress and appreciate how far we've come. It reminds us that we're capable of achieving great things, even when we don't feel perfect. Section 9. Seeking support. Coping with perfectionism and self-criticism can be challenging. It's important to remember that you don't have to go through this alone. Seek support from trusted friends, family members, or a therapist. Talking about your experiences and feelings can help you gain perspective and develop healthier coping mechanisms. A therapist can provide a safe and supportive space to explore the root causes of your perfectionism. They can also teach you practical skills for challenging negative thoughts, practicing self-compassion, and setting realistic expectations. Remember, asking for help is a sign of strength, not weakness. It takes courage to acknowledge that you need support, and it's a testament to your commitment to your well-being. Section 10. The journey to self-acceptance. The journey to overcoming perfectionism and self-criticism is a process, not a destination. There will be ups and downs along the way. There will be times when you fall back into old patterns of thinking and behaving. Be patient with yourself. Self-compassion is key. When you make a mistake, treat yourself with the same kindness and understanding that you would offer to a loved one. Remember that you are worthy of love and belonging just as you are. You don't have to be perfect to be enough. Section 11. Finding freedom from perfectionism. Imagine a life free from the relentless pursuit of perfection. A life where you can embrace your imperfections, celebrate your achievements, and live authentically. This is the freedom that awaits you when you choose to let go of perfectionism and self-criticism. It's a journey of self-discovery, self-compassion, and personal growth. It's a journey worth taking. Start today. Embrace your imperfections, celebrate your strengths, and step into the freedom of being your true, authentic self.